How about that for an intro? So welcome back everyone to episode 2 of EverQuest Thornblade Adventures. In the last episode, created the characters, got to level 4, and got a lot of nice drops from the Qeynos sewers. The Mischief and Thornblade servers have a very interesting rule set where named mobs drop more loot than usual, and they also drop loot from other similar level names. These servers are a loot pinata. They are fun to play on. So I started out with trash mobs in the Qeynos Hills area, and this nice druid named Wolfdar, he came by and gave me some buffs. I think he's actually in the Knights of Napalm guild. And boy, druids are some of the best power leveling classes in this game. They can give you a huge hit point buff, Spirit of the Wolf so your run speed's faster, ports around anywhere you want to go in Norath, hit point regen so that it's virtually like you're not even taking damage, and the best part is their damage shield buff. It pretty much puts in all the work to take out these mobs. Druids are amazing for leveling up your characters quicker. So thank you to Wolfner. He actually buffed me twice. It was really inconvenient, I bet. He came by when I finished in Blackborough in this video to rebuff me again, and I think he had to run all the way from somewhere far away. The mobs in the yard were getting far apart, so I decided to go to Blackborough to start experiencing. So I got in the zone, and I noticed this warrior and shaman duo, so I sent them a tell asking if I could join. And there we go! First group on these guys. And I'm kind of glad I waited a while after the server opened because it wasn't as jam-packed with people taking every mob in sight. Nestled between Qeynos Hills and the peaks of Everfrost to the north, Blackborough is the present-day home of the Sabertooth Knoll Pack. The Sabertooth Pack originated in the Jagged Pine Forest, but migrated to the hills that lay just beyond the evergreen woodlands borders. There they found the abandoned Blackborough complex, at a time when the then nomadic people of the Jagged Pine were inexorably driving them out of the forest. The Sabertooths retreated to the complex and made it their stronghold as the conflict with the human settlers began to reach dangerous levels. This tank was really solid. He was twinked with some nice gear that gave him a lot more hit points than I would have been expected. I thought this guy had like a druid buff on, that's how he was able to survive so well, but no, it was his gear. And he was putting out some sweet damage with that two-hander. But there were some weird things that happened while I was in Blackborough. Two weird things, actually. Number one, everything was kill on sight to us. But for some reason, you could go straight up to a redcon and it wouldn't aggro you unless you hit it. So I asked about it, I asked the tank about it, and he said it was a change to combat power levelers. So power levelers would come into Blackborough and use the social aggro of the zone, how it's traditionally always been, to pull everything in the zone and just monopolize it. It would monopolize Blackborough completely away from all the legitimate groups, so I guess that's why the change was made. Now, if you want to do that, you'd have to tag every single mob in the zone individually and pull it, and people don't have time for that. And then the other weird aspect of Blackborough is the fleeing. I knew the gnolls would flee, but dang, they run super fast. I think they even run faster if they're higher level than you. They would flee right into their friends, and bam, you would have a train on your back. The redcons were especially bad. We had enough strength as a group to take out the redcons, but they got really difficult to finish when they started to flee. Unfortunately, no other redcons seemed to social, but even in dark blues, definitely were. They were coming along, as that fleeing redcon was running into him. So we attacked a redcon knoll, beat it down, and it started to run into everything. And we couldn't damage it quick enough to take it out. So once I saw enough mobs, I was like, I'm done, I'm out, no more. I called out a train in the general chat. The tank somehow was not phased. He's like, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. So to his credit, he did take out the redcon, but he did get annihilated a few seconds later by the train. And I love this quote by Maverick. I mean, yeah, I can kind of seem like a coward in this, but a brave man dies once, but a coward lives to be a coward another day. I'm gonna take my life. So I wanted to see the carnage, so I intentionally didn't zone out. I actually waited for the train to come to the zone line, and boy, it was a lot of mobs. I somehow survived. And fortunately, no other higher con mobs seemed to come, so I actually was able to take it out. And trains are a legendary part of EverQuest. A pull will get out of hand, and a huge swarm of mobs will chase the group as they run to the exit. And these mobs slam the zone in and annihilate anybody who zones in. Crushbone, Kale Drackle, Karnor's Castle are legendary for these trains. People would bind at the zone in and just get unstoppable death loops as the train would just not leave the entrance. So by the end of the group, I got to level 8. And a great thing about the Blackborough zone is the Gnollfangs quest. I actually have a video on the best classic quests that talks about this. You'll get these Gnollfangs that drop, and you turn them in to Captain Tillin in the Warrior Guild. You'll get some experience in faction, and then Captain Tillin will give you some moonstones that you can do a secondary turn in to a barkeep in the back part of the zone. You'll get some extra experience, some faction, and you'll get some item that you can sell for a bit of extra money. New abilities. So let's talk about some new abilities. Monks get a new type of special attack called Round Kick at level 5. I'm not sure if it does more damage than the regular kick, but it does give a better animation. It's really cool. Roundhouse Kick. And I also got the Sneak ability on the Monk, so now I can better get around killing site areas or sell to faction hating me vendors. And I'm not sure if Sneak still works with the Feign Death splitting, but we'll see. If any of you guys know how pulling is on a Monk on these live servers, please let me know. Both characters got an alternate advancement unlock at level 5 called Origin. Everybody gets this on the live and TLP servers. It's a free port every 18 to 20 minutes or so to your starting location. And I got the Gate spell on my Shaman too, so I could teleport back to my bind. So I needed to buy spells. I used the Origin ability to go directly to the Shaman Guild in Hallis. I also ran to the Shaman Vendor in Everfrost for a few straggler spells. I ended up buying all the spells I needed up to level 20. Those loot drops that I got in the Qeynos sewers really paid for. And I also bought a bunch of bags for both characters. So there's a very convenient NPC called the Parcel Merchant. They're usually next to bankers in every city, and you can basically mail items to other characters this way. You don't have to see them in person to hand them an item. And it's super useful for selling stuff on a trader box in the Common Lands or the Bazaar later. So Origin got me to Hallis, and Gate got me back to my bind in Qeynos Bank. It saved a lot of time and travel. And for the next few levels, I plan on killing will-o-wisps for greater light stones. There's actually a quest you can do in North Corana for some good experience and money. I tested out killing will-o-wisps on the Shaman to see what it was going to be like. Will-o-wisps are a special creature that can only be hurt by magic weapons or spells. And magic weapons are the issue. Magic weapons are very hard to come by in your beginning levels in EverQuest, especially in the original expansion. So oftentimes, melee classes and tanks are virtually useless against certain mobs. Anybody who's trying to farm will-o-wisps or take out some undead mobs in Unrest, like the ghouls, they'll definitely know this. I actually took off my weapon on the Shaman because it wouldn't do anything. My dots are actually putting in most of the work. I got lucky. I got 2 greater light stones, and they are super useful for Nightblind raises. You slap them in an inventory slot, and they provide one of the greatest degrees of illumination in EverQuest outside of vision buffs. So I got one for the Monk and the Shaman, and it helped out a lot. And I loved using the Shaman for soloing. The Shami's very durable, can heal himself, his dots are super effective. At this point, my Shaman is actually more of my favorite than the Monk. So I started to think, the only way I can kill will-o-wisps right now is with my Shaman, because my Monk has nothing that can hurt them. I did some research, I was looking for weapons that are attainable, but nothing. Really nothing I could get that's easily attainable at my level. Then I remembered, oh, if you want to land kick on magic-only mobs, you need magic boots equipped. I don't have magic boots, but I do have magic gloves on the Shaman. Then, when I used the gloves on the Shaman, did hand-to-hand, it worked on the will-o-wisps. And hand-to-hand combat is the Monk's forte. But I didn't have a set of magic gloves for him. So fortunately, this service rule set lets you get loot that you normally would never drop off of certain mobs. So I went back down the Qeynos Aqueducts to farm another set of those gloves, and I got them. And while I was down there, I saw this weird named gelatin monster called Qbert. He did not drop anything, unfortunately, just kind of like Fippy Darkpaw. But boy, he was trying to run away. It's hard when your swimming skill is bad and you don't have levitate down here. It'll get out of hand. But later on, I went to the Common Lands tunnel and I saw a person selling magic boots for 12 plat. And I bought them for the Monk so that now the Monk can punch and kick magic-only mobs. Ready to go. So I was very close to level 9, so I did a bit of soloing on the Shaman and on the Monk. Level 9 is huge for Shamans. They get the spell called Spirit of the Wolf, or so. It's the first class to actually get a run speed buff outside a Bard. And run speed makes everything better in EverQuest. Running anywhere without faster run speed is painful. So I cranked out the level and cheered in excitement. On the Monk, nothing really happens at level 9, but I get some really nice abilities at 10. I didn't want to neglect the Monk, so I found out about a Qeynos Monk quest line called the Colored Headbands, and I found out that I could do 2 of them solo at my current level. So the first step involves getting 4 Knoll Pup scalps. Very, very easy. I just took out Knoll Pups in the yard and got 4. It gave me this head slot item that weighed nothing, beautiful, and it had some stats. So that is great. Stats are very hard to come by in early EverQuest. The second quest, I had some help. It involves getting rib bones from putrid skeletons in Qeynos Hills. They're about slightly dark blue to even con to me, but there were some mobs that were yellow con to me that were very hard to take care of. There was this necromancer named Sharkums that was farming the camp for Pisgin, I believe, glowing black stone, and he helped me get 2 of the 3 rib bones I needed. So thank you to that necro, because these skeletons were hard to solo. I was getting wrecked. It's not that they're difficult, it's just that they're bunched up so close to each other and they social. They have these nasty debuffs they'll put on you, and there's really not much you can do to get them off. So I had a hard time meting up hit points, so I actually used Bind Wound for the first time in years, and I thought it was mostly useless because it only bring you up to 50%, but that's on P99. On live servers, I guess because the cap got moved up, you can bind up to 70% at the low levels, and not like when you're in your 50s on P99. And I thought it was useless, but no, not if it's 70%. It could be a great thing on the Shaman during cannibalization. So I turned in 3 of the rib bones with the old sash, and bam, another upgrade. And similar to the Monk headbands, Barbarian Shaman have a single quest that gets them an interesting necklace. It's merely a fetch quest of creating a wanted list of Qeynos criminals. So you get the components in Hallis to make the scroll, turn in the scroll to a guard in Qeynos Bank, return back to Hallis, and you're done. This quest beautifully highlights the magic of the Origin and Gate abilities when they work in concert. It made a 20 to 30 minute run back and forth from Qeynos to Hallis into like a 3-minute scroll. The neck piece has some really nice stats for a Shaman, and it has a special summon for a weapon. The weapon actually had a better damage delay than my old one, and it's magic with a Bane against undead. I can finally hit will-o-wisp on my Shaman too. If only I got to test this out in Unrest, because the Bane to undead. But I don't plan on going anywhere really with undead in this Western Antonica focus series. I'm going to end the episode here, but I plan on doing will-o-wisps, sewer smugglers, and Karana bandits in the future. So thank you everyone who's watched this far. I appreciate the likes, comments, and the general support of the channel. Thank you guys all so much. See you in the next video.